Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Team Liquid Legacy Star League. This is the second day of the round of 24. We're going to be doing groups C and D, and you may have noticed that I am not joined by my usual co-caster Elegant, but instead the wonderful Keontae will be with us today. What's up, Keontae?
Hello. I'm well, kind of tired, but that's alright. It is in fact 6 o'clock in the morning here in Australia, but I am awake somehow and here to help fill in for Elegant, who is off saving the world, I think.
Indeed,
something
indeed. Like we found out just last week that Elegant is in fact a real-life 007. So he's doing whatever James Bond does, making terrible movies. I mean, yeah. So
the last one was pretty good. Like, let's be honest.
Dude, I hated the last one. Are you kidding me? The last one was the worst. It was the absolute worst. Ugh. Don't even get me started. Anyway, ignore that. We are here to watch some StarCraft. That's right.
We are indeed.
As I said before, Group C and D, which we shall see now. Or rather, we're just going to see Group C. So, as you can see on the screen, dRaW, Napoleon, South Park, and Jim Raynor, also known as Jim Bag. Yeah, so we've got a couple of Zerg players, a Protoss, and a Race Picker. Napoleon plays TBZ, and then Zerg in the other two matchups.
So hopefully we can dodge a lot of that ZVZ that some people don't particularly like, but you know, it can be a pretty exciting matchup all the same, and I think we actually get to see that. I think South Park and Jimbag both play ZVZ, so we get to see a ZVZ pretty much right off the bat here in the second match.
That's right, and in fact, in the qualifiers, we did see several ZVZs that were amazing. I think at least 3 Hive-level ZVZs, I want to say, from the qualifiers.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely remember quite a few. A lot of Guardians and Defilers and pretty crazy stuff can go on if it can get that far, which is fairly rare in ZVZ, but, you know, it is pretty cool when it does get there.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, normally I'm not the biggest fan of ZVZ, but since it is TLS, I'm not so concerned. So our first match of the day is going to be droll versus Napoleon. This will be a PVZ, and it should be quite interesting, of course, because droll has one of the possibly most entertaining, shall we say, PVZ styles around. He loves going for drops all over the place, getting mass speed shuttles. In the late game, we saw him play some amazing PVZ series in the qualifiers. Against both South Park and Jim Raynor, in fact. He played the finals of Group C, I believe, against South Park, and one of the semifinals against Jim Raynor, I think, of the qualifier that he won to get here. Can't remember which one that was, actually.
They tend to be fairly drawn-out games, you could say, as well. It's pretty unique styles that dRaW tends to bring to the table in the PvZ matchup. He's not one of these players who usually goes for that, you know, 2-base timing push, you know, 8 gates, whatever, just go and try and bust down the Zerg's door. He'll happily, you know, sit back, you know, get his harass off, do some pretty creative stuff, and the games can tend to go fairly long, so we're probably in for a bit of a treat here.
I'm very happy that is the case. I love watching PvZ, especially late game PvZ. And he's going to have a pretty tough opponent as well. Napoleon is no slouch here. A very old school Finnish player, also known as Lossi Lohi, or something like that. Yeah, although the funny thing is, like, I know he's a very, very strong Zerg, but in my mind, like, I always have the impression of his TVZ, because I think I mentioned this in the qualifier, but quite a while ago, I casted a tournament where he played a best of 3 against Ziki, who is, of course, almost undisputably the #1 foreigner at the moment. And he actually beat Ziki, I believe, 2-1 in just an incredible 3-game TVZ series. And in particular, he had this amazing mech play on alternative that just like blew my mind. So I was like, wow, Napoleon's amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see that he actually only just scraped into the TLS proper here. I think 86 points total, whereas the cutoff point for qualifying was 84, you know. That was, I mean, that's pretty tight on points there, and whereas dRaW obviously won his qualifier, so, and he did pick this group. This was his second choice group, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was his second choice. He got to pick third, because he won the third qualifier, I think. And but he originally wanted to pick Group D, which we're actually going to do next. But True Touch got it first, so he's like, all right, I'll get Group C then. That's fine.
And it's pretty good for him because he will be able to practice a lot of PBZ in preparation here to try and get his way into the round of 16.
Yeah, it's basically the only matchup he has to practice for this group, so that's quite handy. And of course, it's the matchup that's probably most important for the whole tournament, considering how many Zergs we have. So, I think I'm ready to get into the game, Keontae. What about you?
Yep.
Alright, let's do it here. Game number 1 of Group C of the TLS Ro24. Here we go. And here we are in the first match at the top left. As the yellow Zerg, we do have SJ Napoleon. And at the bottom left, as the white Protoss, we have dRaW. And looks like we have a lovely green observer here just hiding in a corner.
He's sending his command center, I'd say, the long way, and not actually destroying his SCV. So a little bit weak in terms of the observing quality here, but I guess we can let it go.
And he's using a Smurf ID too, so we don't know who he is.
Yeah, obviously wanted to avoid detection here, but these positions I'd say are pretty good for Draw right off the bat. He's going to have close air positions in terms of getting those drops off, as you said earlier, and it's likely that he will scout Napoleon first, because the normal scout pattern will be to go straight up, and yeah, looks like that's the way he's going, and it looks like Napoleon's probably going to scout him.
I think he's going to go to the 9 o'clock first and check for an Overlord. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Yes, and then he's going to scout him last. Because he's droll. Oh man, he's very unlucky. Okay, so this is a stylistic thing. Droll does it every single time he plays PvZ. I've been watching a stream a lot lately, actually, and basically he checks the position where he's looking for an Overlord, because usually the Zerg would send the Overlord vertically, so the Overlord would kind of get around here, he'd see it with the probe, and he'd know if the Zerg was there, but since he didn't see an Overlord, he assumed his opponent wasn't at the top left, but Napoleon actually scouted towards the middle to look for a probe, and is also scouting in the wrong direction, so both players being a little bit tricky here, because of course, Napoleon assumed that a probe would come straight from the south, as Keontae was saying, and since he didn't see one, he's assuming that they're not vertical spawns either, so both these players have just metagamed each other to the max here, and have ended up looking kind of silly.
I like they're pretty much just being too smart for themselves. Like if they just gone off the standard open, close, inverted commas, they'd pretty much just beat each other's bases right now and have
exactly.
But I think this is going to favor Draw. This hatchery first here for Napoleon, and there is a gateway first for Draw. So it's actually dropping the forge as well, so doing a pretty, I guess, defensive style here.
Yeah,
I actually haven't seen this pretty much myself.
It's because he's not really sure, so he needs the forge to be safe. If he'd scouted first, he could obviously go gateway and then nexus straight away, doing the gateway first forge expand that he does love to do so much. But in this case, not so much. Now, one interesting thing, by the way, is I know that Droll was quite concerned about Ling run-bys and Ling bust on this map, because it is a fairly wide natural here. But his wall does kind of cover it. He's got this one gap between the pylon and the forge, basically a 2 hex gap above the gateway. Wait, why is there a pylon outside this hatchery?
Have a counter rush incoming,
oh,
I believe. And I think he'll use the gateway he's got down, because he's got the second
he gas stole as well!
Oh man, this is going to be a huge penny asking point if he doesn't find this out, because his Overlord already moved past the natural, so he didn't have vision of this at all, and he doesn't know that there's a second probe just sitting there making this cannon. And, and this probe's pulling out as well. This is going pretty much all in here for Draw, so I did actually big up the whole, this matchup will take a while with Draw playing, but maybe not. Maybe, Draw changing up his style here, catching Napoleon off guard.
Oh man, Napoleon made a third hatch at the top right as well. There's drones coming down here, but the probes get here just in time, as well as a second cell. There's no way this is going to be even close to enough. The cannon is about to finish as well. The Lings are trying to close with it, but the drones are actually blocking the Lings from engaging, but the drones actually do a good job. They take down the cannon, but I think with all those probes on the Zealots there, it doesn't even matter. Even if the cannon goes down, he's just going to lose everything here anyway, and Napoleon is in big trouble here in game number 1. Droll actually sending some of his probes back. He realized, oh wait, no, he's actually stopping the attack. I'm a little bit surprised. If he just left the the probes there, he could have just killed everything, but he does have another Zealot coming in, and with 3 Zealots and 3 probes still there, he can still do a lot of damage here. A lot of drones have died. The hatchery at the top right was actually cancelled. And, well, let's see how much damage these Zealots can do.
He really doesn't have that many drones left. I don't know if he really wants to, you know, transition from me. I guess he knows that, like, so many probes are pulled that he can pretty much try and equalize, but yeah, Draw coming back in here. Sunken Colony about to start completing, but I don't know if it's going to be in time.
Yeah, even if it is in time, like, he's got, what, 5 drones against 1 million probes, and oh, he's going to lose everything now. Oh, God. He doesn't even have the minerals to make the Sunken. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look at Draw. He's building a cannon as natural as well, just to be safe. Like, just in case of some kind of random crazy counterattack and base trade situation, he doesn't want to somehow lose the game in a silly fashion, because he knows he's basically got this locked down. He hasn't actually sent any reinforcement Zealots, so these Zealots are getting dangerously low on health, but looks like all those Earthlings do go down to some good micro there, so still having to run away here. Did he get enough money? Yes, he did get enough money to actually build a Sunken at least, but oh, the Manor Nexus!
Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh wow. Oh, Draw.
Draw.
He could probably actually cannon rush the hatchery from the bottom as well, out of range of the Sunken.
Actually, that's all the Zealots dead, but I mean, he's got 3 drones, and when you have 3 drones at about like the 5-6 minute mark, it's really not an ideal situation to be in. That being said, Draw doesn't have a Nexus of his own, and there's still 2 hatcheries up here. A few more Zealots coming in, but I don't think they can actually get any more drone kills with the Sunken here. He will be able to sort of make the drones pull off mining, but if Napoleon's careful here, he should be able to save his drones.
He's going to have to keep them running, though, because the Zealots can still tank quite a few shots from the Sunken. And looks like, yep, doing a good job running around the back here once one Zealot does go down. So I think he'll be okay. Yeah, Draw's just going to pull that other Zealot back. He knows he's not actually going to get another kill. Interestingly, he cancelled the BM Nexus and built one out as natural. I'm not sure if he's slightly concerned here. He's actually sending a probe to scout for any kind of hidden expos. He knows that, you know, it's all well and good to do some ceremonies, but if he gets overconfident and somehow lost this game to like a hidden base somewhere, that would be quite silly. So at least taking this somewhat seriously.
I'm a little bit sad that he cancelled that. I mean, if you're going to go out and try and make a statement like that in the first game of the round of 24, cancelling it says to me that you're not confident. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Conviction.
Yeah. You've got to let it finish and just man up. It looks like he's actually going to just do a late cannon rush here on the main.
Yeah.
He knows that the natural can't really, like, nothing can be built from there, and he can deal with that later. So he's going to, you know, focus his attention on the main here, try and just shut it down straight away. Don't let Napoleon get back into this game. And yeah, he's scattered pretty much all these other bases as well.
I mean, this is what I was saying, is that Sunken at the top, it protects against Zealots, but it doesn't protect against cannons. So you can see he has to build another creep colony here. And with the 2 Zealots here, 3 Zealots now, Droll can actually deny that fairly effectively, and also obviously just build more cannons as well. And Napoleon can't exactly afford to build a bunch of Sunkens in response. So it's a pretty desperate situation here. I think Napoleon probably knows he's lost, but he's just, you know, it's TLS. He doesn't want to kind of lose the first game in such a silly fashion, so he's kind of holding on, but it's looking pretty grim.
It's definitely not something you want to do, you know, just, you know, GGing early, giving up, and, you know, maybe you had a chance, but yeah, it looks like he's going to try and tank some shots here with the Zealots. Ling's coming in as well. This cannon might die. Oh, yeah, good targeting there as well with the Sunken. But maybe it's just not enough. Or is it?
Well, it looks like... Yeah, surprisingly, Napoleon actually holds us off, only having to pull drones at the last second here. That was actually a very good defense there by Napoleon. Not that it actually matters, considering the Protoss is mining off like 2 mineral lines here with you know 6 times as many probes as he has. He's getting a Stargate, and there's no tech at all from Napoleon. Like, is he just gonna make a spore colony to defend his overlords or something? Like, what is the actual plan here? I don't understand from Napoleon.
Yeah, I mean, normally in this position, I mean, when this sort of thing happens, you know, you get cannon rushed, and it kind of works. Like this one did. Like, when I say kind of works, like the cannons didn't actually complete, but the damage was done. Normally you want to just, you know, rush up a leg, get some mutas or lurkers, and, you know, try and make a comeback through tech. But, I mean, that isn't, he can't even get that up because Draw's been so aggressive on his main here. You know, he's had to make Lings, make Sunkens, make, you know, pull drones off and stuff like that. And all this is just wasting time while Draw gets his own tech up. He's got Citadel of Doom coming up now, Stargate finished. He's got a goon now, actually going to be able to clean up these 2 overlords as well, which is going to supply cap Napoleon back down to like 0 supply, which is
yep.
going to be pretty awkward.
Yeah, and the Corsair's coming out as well, so even as though this Overlord's kind of trying to run away, it's not going to get anyway. Looks like Napoleon's just going to go for a Ling all in here, and that's probably his only chance. Oh yeah, Ling speed is about to finish here. Made a slight mistake, mind a little bit too much gas here, 60 extra gas. That doesn't seem like much, but given that he only had like 4 drones for a while, it's quite huge.
Oh.
And wow,
actually catching these zealots.
Oh.
Pretty like
look at all the probes. No chance, no chance.
Yeah, no, it's... Wow, you said chance like a British person. Sorry, I just thought I'd mention that.
Boom. I mean, with Elegant not here, I have to inject a little bit of class into the cast at least.
Class. Oh my god. It's so weird. Anyway,
this probe pull, by the way, normally that would be slightly excessive, I think, pulling, what, like 8 probes to block that little gap, but Droll knows that the only possible way he can lose this game right now is to the Ling bust. So he's not taking any chances whatsoever. Like, this is generally not required, but, I mean, might as well, right?
Exactly. It's not like, I mean, he's got the Corsair out. I mean, Napoleon actually making an Evo chamber and a Spore Colony here to help try and protect his non-existent overlords from the Corsair, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. At some point, you kind of just have to give up and say, look, I was bested in dishonorable combat. I need to just survive, but... Napoleon
the funny thing
showing
is,
a lot of balls here, I guess.
The funny thing is, his tournament life isn't even on the line, because even if he loses this game, he can still win the or get out of the group. He just needs to win the next 2 games that he plays. He'll basically drop down to the losers match and still has a chance here. So I'm not sure why he's being so tenacious. It's not like it's the final match and everything rides on this game or anything like that. I'm wondering if maybe he's just a little bit scared of South Park or even Jim Raynor or something like that. And but.
I mean, yeah.
I think he's wasting his energy here. Yeah.
Maybe, but I mean, it's not like there's that many games to play. It's like 3 games maximum that you would play in the round of 24. You may as well just put in everything in. His Overlord on the bottom right manages to escape the clutches of the Corsairs here. They didn't find it at all. So, Droll maybe, could have taken that out and set, Napoleon even further behind, but it's kind of irrelevant at this point. I think Draw's just going to build up some forces here. He's got 4 gateways up now, has his Templar tech, probably just going to make some Zealots, maybe some DTs or Archons, or he could just make anything really. He could mass probes and attack, and I think he'd do right now.
I must say, Droll is playing surprisingly standard given what's happened. I mean, he made the Manor Nexus, and then, Napoleon didn't leave for the game for a while, so he's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just play a normal game now and just win. I mean, everything about his build is completely standard. Oh man, that Spore is going to go down, I think, before it finishes. Yep, too much DPS. Oh! Oh! That was ridiculously close, and GG from Napoleon. Can't hold on to his natural, and a quick game 1 here from Droll. Wow.
The straw that broke the camel's back there with the DT. He almost got it too. Like, Napoleon, like, he didn't stop trying that whole game. Like, there was no point where he was like, oh, I'll just play this out and see what happens. Like, he was going hard the whole time. And I mean, it's just unfortunate. I guess not unfortunate. It's unfortunate that he didn't leave that second Overlord at his natural. I think that was the big mistake that he made. You really need to have that scouting on. You need to know whether the Protoss wants to try and counter rush your Expo, because it's really important.
Yeah, but on the other hand, that was a pretty crazy opening by Droll. I mean, that's not exactly something you expect in, a round of 24 of a major tournament like this. Just get cannon rushed out of the first game. I mean, because the thing is, I mean, obviously cannon rushes happen in PvZ, but when they do happen, they're usually like to get the Zerg's 3rd base, not the natural. Yeah. You almost never see a natural cannon rush, right?
That was probably the most aggressive cannon rush I've seen, especially when you had the gateway first as well. It meant that you had those zealots to help you kind of try and defend the cannons, and even though he kind of had a really bad time defending cannons that whole game, he killed so much stuff in the process that the damage was done indirectly by the cannons just existing and forcing Napoleon to come and attack them.
Indeed. So with that, I think that'll wrap up the first game, and we're going to go to a quick commercial break and come back for the second game, which will be South Park versus Jim Raynor, a ZVZ. See you guys in a bit.